with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news going live concerning Oleksandr Usyk. Respect, responsibility, humbleness, and all the above. As I promised you guys, I would be going live to talk about Oleksandr Usyk. We've talked a lot about Joshua and the way he handled the latest loss that he had on his career, which is his second consecutive loss, and the way he handled it, wasn't the best. Definitely. A lot of times, a lot of people are, calling him unprofessional. Bryce Productions. Hello there. Big Wah. I got the notification. Yeah. Andre Tremblay. Counterpunch. I like that. JJ, counterpunch to you. Let's hit that like button when we come in. And, we've talked about that. Joshua's, the things that he did, the things that could have happened, because Oleksandr Usyk, came out and said, hey, my boys are some bare knuckle fighters. They could have jacked him up. You know what I mean? They could have jacked him up. But, that didn't happen. He chunked the belts out the ring. You know what I mean? Then he did a cleanup job on his antics, and then he broke down in tears. So he was a different person. However, people, made you keep boxing in this piece. Counterpunch to you, brother. We haven't talked about Oleksandr Usyk, like I've promised you guys. Undefeated. What's up, CP, my brother? Blessings. Blessings to you, brother. Blessings. We haven't talked about what Usyk did. What Oleksandr Usyk did, how he handled the whole situation, as awkward as it might been, it was cringeworthy. It was like, damn. It was like, wow. It was like, what is Joshua doing? But then here's the thing. Mostly, for every action, there's an equal reaction, except under certain circumstances. And those certain circumstances come from, it comes from a person knowing how to handle certain things. It comes from respect. It comes from patience. It comes from prayer. It comes from a lot of different things that you have to take into consideration. It takes strong mental strength, and we're going to talk about that. Joey, he was upset. Usyk was gracious. Usyk was gracious anyway, and we're just going to break all this down with Usyk. Let's look at Usyk for a minute, though. The most I've seen from Usyk, I forget what the fighter's name was. Let me look it up real quick. Hold on a second. Let me get my cellular smartphone device. Like Kenny Power say, my cellular smartphone device. Because I'm trying to get his name. But anyway, the fighter shoved him. And he took it like a G. It didn't even bother him. And it's like, here we go. I believe his name was, wasn't it Marco Tuck? I want to say Marco Huck. Yeah, I think it was Marco Huck. And Marco Huck like shoved him. He tried to get under his skin and shoved him. And, Usyk laughed that shit off. Like, aha, I see what you're doing. This is what's up. You know what I mean? Joshua stopped moving laterally in 10 and 12. He would have finished much better. Shit. He would have finished much better. He had gassed out. All respect to Usyk. Can't wait to see what he continues to do in the division. Andrew, he's going to shake up the division. Will he win every fight? We don't know. But he will definitely show the division what's up. If you want to know what Usyk's going to do, imagine what Lomachenko did in a higher weight class. Yes, he was able to get dropped on the seat of his ass by Linares, which was a bigger guy than Loma, because Loma comes from featherweight, then lightweight, then, you know what I mean? He went to 130 to 135. And it's like, I think he knew at that point, I shouldn't go up again. Kurt, can he beat Fury? Listen, Joel, everyone on the chat. Usyk could be outbox pretty much anybody in the heavyweight division right now. And that's including Fury. And I'm convinced on that because Fury, for one, Fury has been fighting the same guy or the same type of guys. Plotters, sluggers. Wilder was slower because he was heavier. You know what I mean? Wilder don't really have good fundamentals anyway. He's a knockout artist. He's not a boxer. He's not in there to go tit for tat with you and catch and shoot and set traps. No, he's ready to hit you with that right hand so you can go good night, so he can say good night. Okay? To end the fight. Yes, bars. Mark Griffin, what's up, brother? Good evening to you. What does Usyk have to do to beat Fury? He could outbox Fury, but it's not going to be just outboxing Fury. I can tell you that right now. So it would be hard for me to just. I'm not going to simplify Fury because there's no simplifying Fury. See, Fury can't. He can box his ass off, but he's going to do more than box. Okay, so I can't say, oh well, what does Usyk needs to do? He needs to do a lot of things. He needs to rise to the occasion like he did Saturday night against Joshua. When Joshua gave him a 1, 2, 3, then a hammer fist. Then a 5, then a 6, then a 7, then an 8. Partially landed, but he was wearing down the smaller man. But then that smaller man came back and rose to the occasion. So he's going to have to do a lot of things in the ring with Fury. That's why that's a good fight. If we knew who was going to necessarily win, we wouldn't even be hyped for the fight, right? We wouldn't know that. You guys know I picked Usyk twice to beat Joshua. Joshua by knockout only because I don't see him outboxing him, and then see, based on what we've seen with Joshua, his output would be the result of how the fight went, and that wasn't as well as it should have been. You know, and I got an amazing video to talk about Joshua, but let's talk about Usyk for a minute. Usyk takes things well, especially controversy. Now, the question you should ask yourself, though, speaking of controversy, something was controversial was the scorecards. Now, I want to talk about that, too, while I got you guys here. Let's hit that like button so we'll have other people to come near. Bars. But let's say he lost. I'm always interested to see how a fighter reacts after a loss. It shows a lot about him. You know, we've seen that with Wilder. He acted a damn fool. We've seen that with Joshua. He acted a damn fool after the fact of taking his third loss. You know what I mean? They both acted like some fucking crazy people. Crazy ass, unglued, I don't give a fuck attitude type of people. Now, which one was worse? Joshua was worse for that one night, but residual-wise, Wilder was worse. Okay? But again, that's a whole nother discussion for another day. Back to Usyk, though. Usyk took that shit like a G. Usyk took the way AJ acted. And then, see, it just shows you what a person didn't do and probably could have done and could have reacted a certain way. He could have acted with fire versus fire with Joshua, but he didn't. He was gracious because he wasn't even thinking about himself. Now, had he only had that fight to prove that he was the best, and that's all was on his mind is him getting victory for himself, he probably would have self-inflicted and went about and acted out some shit like that. He would have responded in a way because he would have took it, okay, well, you're disrespecting me, which it was disrespectful. Okay, we got to keep it real. What Anthony Joshua did was disrespect. That you can't, there is no way you can't clean that shit up. AJ went out there, took this man's belts and chunked him out the ring. Didn't even walked out the ring. His dad was trying to help him, and then that was kind of like a person that was trying to help him, trying to calm him down, and he didn't even want to hear any of that noise. So to counter what I hear about certain people saying, well, why didn't AJ have people around him to tell him, yo, you should shut the fuck up or chill? I don't think it would have mattered because sometimes you can't calm a person down that doesn't want to be calm. And perfect example I just gave you about his daddy. His daddy tried to help him out the ring. Get off of me. Get off of me. I'm like, what the fuck wrong with him? And he looked like a pissed off basketball player that just got kicked out of the game. Didn't he? Think about it. Patrick Whelan, think Usyk has a chance against Fury. How much bigger is Fury over AJ? Not too much, bro. Fury ain't that much bigger than Wilder height wise. Wilder ain't no much taller than Joshua. Them guys about the same fucking height. Because when you get over 6'6", now Wiley was 6'5", and Fury's probably about 6'7", 6'8". Now with Usyk, you look at Usyk's physique. What's the word? You look at the size difference equivalent of Fury and Vilene, and I just saw that fight with Vilene. And Vilene did a decent job with Fury. Fury beat Vilene, people. There was no robbery. I heard people say that when that fight took place, and I'm like, dude, get out of here. And a lot of those were Wilder fans saying, oh, well, he got beaten, upset, cherry pick gone wrong. Yeah, it was a cherry pick, but guess what? He beat Vilene. He beat Vilene with 2 cuts, you know, 2 nasty cuts on the side of his face, okay? And he did that. So you got to give Fury credit for going that long, even though it should have been stopped, for going that long with those type of injuries because they allowed it to happen. But it showed you what he could do with an injury and what he could still do and score and win a fight. So you have to look at it like that and in that terms, okay? But if we're looking at size to size, that question, Usyk would be equivalent of Otto Wallin because he's about 6'3". Otto Wallin 6'5". But understand, Otto Wallin's considered a smaller heavyweight anyway, especially to Fury. Fury's a big, massive giant. But don't let the size fool you. Don't get it twisted. Fury could actually use his size against Usyk, and he's going to have to win that fight with Usyk. But doesn't mean that's going to be soundproof either. Okay, because both of those guys can get hit. All right. Joshua couldn't believe Usyk came out so strong in the 10th. No, he didn't. Havelock, he didn't. And I think Joshua should understand. And I think what should happen if his mentor or one of his mentors, Joshua, is Vladimir Klitschko. And Vladimir Klitschko to this day trains hard. I mean, that's what he knows. He's been in shape fucking forever. Vladimir Klitschko, probably besides white hair on the sides, you know what I'm saying? He's probably he's been in that type of shape. Now, not fighting shape. He's more like a Layla Ali, like my sister. Like she's in shape, she eats right, she don't do drugs or none of that dumb shit. But she's not in type of fighting shape, but she's in good enough shape to look good for her age and look very good, you know, actually better than people their age because they are ex-former athletes and that just stuck with them. So, saying all that to say this about AJ, because I haven't forgot the point that I was trying to make. AJ, if Vladimir trains anything like Anatoly Lomachenko and how he wants him to train in the Usyk circle, if they train anything like that, I suggest that Joshua needs to pick up some of that training because he's going to need it being that big. And I didn't like the idea of him saying, oh, well, I'm 18 stones. I can't throw that many punches. You know what I mean? Well, you know what that tells me? And I'm going to do a separate video about that for you guys to hear. Here's a sneak preview for you. If Joshua can't throw that many punches and he's not active at his size, that means he shouldn't be his size. Because I'm not convinced that Anthony Joshua is naturally that big. He is not Lennox Lewis. He did not gracefully get bigger. No, that was added muscle, manufactured added muscle. That means he intentionally went there, pumped a shitload of iron and whey and all that other shit to get a certain size. Look at him when he crossed these shores of Americas. The motherfucker was too big. He was just too big. And we've seen him from June of 2019 to December of 2019. He had energy versus when he did not in the first fight, when he was all buffed up and bulky. Bodybuilders don't, and I'm not even trying to call him a bodybuilder because people don't, but that's what he's been doing. And bodybuilders, though, normal, natural bodybuilders that do that shit on the reg, they are not known to be good fighters. Now, if they Superman push you or knock you down, jump on you, beat the shit out of you. But if they're squaring up with somebody, they may get their ass beat because they're stiff and they're accustomed to certain equipment, and that equipment has them doing certain, this, you know what I mean, and they don't have fluidity and they don't have the flexibility to get with somebody that does have that. And so when push comes to shove and they get in a fight, testosterone takes over, along with size, age, all that stuff comes into play. Okay, but understand this: they are not fighters. Fighters are not built like that. Michael B. Jordan is a movie. Creed is a movie. Michael B. Jordan wouldn't be all that buff because he's naturally not that buff. He's not a damn Evander Holyfield. Just like Anthony Joshua's not a Mike Tyson. As much as he wants to be Mike Tyson, much as he loves Mike, I love Mike too. But I'm 6'2", and I'm not going to be trying to walk around here looking like a fucking tall-ass Mike Tyson. It does not work. And it won't work for me either when I'm trying to fight the best fighters in the fucking world. It's not going to happen. And speaking of the best fighters in the world, we have Oleksandr Usyk, a guy that did not crack, a guy that did not trip, a guy that did not get all pissed off or offended or bothered, which he could have been. He could have easily, like when Joshua chunked them fucking belts over there, and I seen Usyk like watch him. He didn't like watch him like that. He kind of followed him with his eyes, almost like a clock. You know what I mean? You ever seen you ever had an older grandma, older aunt, older uncle? They got those clocks, and you know what I mean? It's kind of haunted, and the clock kind of follows you like an owl. Usyk just kind of went over. He kind of looked at him, but he didn't put that energy into that. He did not. He did not give in to that energy. He did not submit to that attitude and give in to that personality and the things that Joshua had going on. He did not do that. So it was great to see what he was doing. It was great to see him conduct himself in that manner. And that shows a lot about championship pedigree. And that's the thing that I know damn well Joshua should be ashamed of himself, because that is the image that he likes or calls himself to portray. Okay? So with Wilder got a friend now. Wilder got he got a partner. Joshua couldn't believe, okay, I got that one. Capital 2 times. Joshua was following Usyk around a lot and was always losing the outside foot positioning like the entirety of both fighters. And he was unable to pressure Usyk to the ropes, didn't follow up when he did. No, because, you see, he had to worry, and then, let me tell you, Usyk is Usyk. Usyk is going to do what Usyk's going to do. Joshua is a guy that knows he's on a limited amount of gas. That's how Joshua was. And so it's almost like asking Joshua to, hey, can you fucking hit the gas? Because you're going very slow. You're not going fast enough. We're not going to make it there on time. Somebody else is going to beat us. That's what it is with him. But you have to understand, he's trying to pass someone that's going faster than him, like Usyk was, but he had limited gas to get where he needed to be to win. Why? Because he had a limited amount of gas, and when you hit the gas, you're burning more gasoline, right? You're burning more fuel. And Joshua knew that. Joshua knew, you know what? I have to show this man stuff in spots because I know I'm going to get tired because I know my body. But what he needs to understand about his body, he needs to drop that fucking muscle. That is not natural. Trust me. You can't tell me that's natural if you go from June of 1st, when you took your first L, to December 1st, when you avenged that first L, and you were fucking how many pounds? How many pounds he had dropped? And he did that naturally. Why? Because he was talking to Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko was like, okay, do more calisthenics, lay off the weights. And you seen him. It was a huge difference. You had a slender AJ versus a big, bulky-ass AJ looking like an action figure. So you can't tell me that. Who is tougher opponent for Fury, Usyk or Joshua? I have no idea. You know why, Bryce? Because they ain't fought him. Let's just be real. Joshua's local hero here in New Zealand. Oh, Joseph is a local hero here in New Zealand. How will he go against Joyce? Patrick, may the best man win that night, bro. He can box. He has boxing ability. He's been hanging around the Gypsy King. You know, he knows how to do what he can do. He's a pretty strong-willed guy. He got up from a left hook from Dillian White, which was one of the hardest punching left hook guys in the heavyweight division. You let him get in there. Good Kurt, good haircut. Appreciate it. I actually need to bring it down, actually. I don't know how AJ ever thought he was going to beat Fury, though. See, here's the thing. Fury is not Usyk. We know, and if you want to break down Joshua's weaknesses, let's do that. Joshua, he lifts a lot of weights. Joshua's taller. Joshua's strength formation, meaning his punches. Okay, let me show you guys, if I can. Okay. His punch formation is probably stronger right here, right in front of him. Now, once he starts punching downward, and it's probably nobody really that much taller than him. So from him to be punching up, that's another formation of punching, okay? So when you're dealing with someone that's even to you, you see eye to eye, they're level, they're parallel with your punching. Now, when you got to go down, especially if Usyk's shorter than him, probably by here, right? So his head is probably here into Joshua's head. So, but then Usyk kind of comes down and slips, changes angles. So not only does he have to punch downward, now, and Usyk gets it, he has to punch even farther downward. We've seen it with the Andy Ruiz fight, and Andy Ruiz was down here, okay? He can't punch like that, okay? He can't punch effectively, let's say that. So that's not his strongest punch formation. Like, let me give you a perfect example. David Tua can punch your brains out. You know what he had problems with? Lennox Lewis. Why? Lennox Lewis was up here. David Tua was down here. So when David Tua reached up to throw these left hooks, and normally he throws it like this, now he has to come upward. His punch formation is not as strong naturally going upward because he has to punch someone taller. And Joshua's the opposite. He has to punch downward. He has problems with somebody downward. But if you put somebody in front of him like Klitschko, like Wilder, maybe Fury, that are looking him eye to eye, maybe a little taller, maybe not. But the formation is right here. The formation is right there. You see? That's it. But if you're doing all this shit here, like you're punching a midget, it's not going to be the same force based on muscle memory. But how does muscle memory form? What you do and how you exercise. What do you see Joshua do? Right? You see him doing a lot of that stuff. A lot of that. Not enough calisthenics, if you ask me. Right? You see him punching on the heavy bag. Is he a good body puncher? I think he could be a better body puncher. But I think and feel if he was a better body puncher, he could hit harder in that formation pattern, which I don't think he really can do. You know what I mean? You ever seen him hit and hurt somebody I think he hurt Usyk in the body in that fight, but we know Usyk, I think Usyk's soft spot is the body. You know what I mean? Just people ain't figured that out yet, okay? But that's what it is. Now, talking about Usyk though, and you compare Usyk to Fury, that's like comparing a fucking vicious jaguar to a fucking polar bear. Both will kill you. Both will bite your face off. Both will destroy you and eat you. But fighting them were two different ways. You would want to fight a polar bear, get you a long, big-ass stick, and let him, you know how it goes. You plant the stick down, and you aim for the heart, and you better hope you aim right. If not, he's going to maul you to death. A jaguar, you got to use something else. It ain't a long stick. You know what I mean? But I hope, I explained that right. Usyk is watched. Let me get some of these super chats here, man. Thank you guys for the love in advance. James West, blessed by the best. Thank you, man. Critical hit, counterpunch to you. You didn't have to, but you did. Appreciate you, brother. We also have BA, Kurt, I appreciate you analyzing the game like you do. Keep it up, brother. And props to Usyk class act all the way around. Thank you, BA, all the time. BA, I don't know what's that stand for? I gotta know now. Let's see. We have Boxing Logics United, Peace and Pugilism, Bro Ham, Bro Shoop. Thank you, man, and thank you for the video. You guys haven't seen that video. He just gave me a shout out because I mean, I feel he's been slacking, and we talk, personally about like doing more content. You know what I mean? That keeps us alive, that keeps the boxing community alive, that keeps your channel growing, that keeps your momentum flowing. Bars keeps everything going. And I appreciate it, man. Thank you. James West coming in with another one. Perfect breakdown. Appreciate it, Kurt. Hey, man, my pleasure. My pleasure. But no, it makes sense. If you guys think about it, if you guys boxed ever, if you're just a fan of boxing, you probably won't know. But if you guys box, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with Joshua. So Joshua's going to have those problems, and the same problems he had with Usyk, he won't have with Fury. But understand, Fury has his own array of problems. Don't mean Fury won't give Joshua problems. I could already see it. But I'm not seeing that through the eyes of him fighting someone else. That makes no sense at all. Mark Griffin coming in with that 449 pound. Appreciate that high five super sticker. Appreciate you, brother. Are you allowed to hit your boxing opponent with the side of your boxing glove? No, Bryce, you are not. That was illegal. Joshua, I don't know if he was watching McGregor, Mayweather, or whatever the hell he was watching, but he pulled a hammer fist out his ass, out his arsenal. I'm like, dude, I have never seen you throw a fucking hammer fist. And then that's another thing you have to credit Usyk to. There was low blows. You guys forgot about the fucking low blow. Okay. Then he hit my man with a damn hammer fist, and we know Joshua, like I've told you guys about Joshua. If Joshua's jabbing and he misses you, okay, he's going to automatically cuff you, almost as though like some Aikido in a sense. I don't know if he, trained in martial arts, but you can sway your opponent away based on their own movements or whatnot. But if you do jab, he does cuff. He's cuffing his fighter, but he's doing that shit to keep that fighter away from him. So he jabs, and then and Usyk's head's on a swivel. And Usyk is one of those guys that he manipulates your own movement. And it's an interesting thing to see. If you go back and watch Usyk's not moving with the punch. Usyk's already moving to anticipate the punch. That's what makes him so difficult, because it's like this motherfucker's already doing something to counteract my punch. Okay, so he's already making it difficult for me because his head is not still. It's not stable. So if the motherfucker comes out and he's already moving here to this side, it's not giving you a clear angle. The only thing now you can think to jab at that angle that he ends up at, or that angle like that, or try to catch him with a right hand or something like that. But that's difficult too, because he's going off of your movement. So if he sees you and he sees that shoulder, like Joshua, Joshua's in front of him, he has his guard tight and he's trying to throw that jab. Usyk's he's already prepared for that. He's already prepared for that. And that's what makes it difficult. And see, Joshua knows, like, fuck, I know this motherfucker, there he is doing that shit again. So I can't even, you know what I mean? And like, he had to kind of step back, and he was kind of successful at sometimes, and he did catch Usyk. So Usyk can be caught. But the things that Joshua did, the cuffing, the low blow, ball sack punch, hammer fist, he kept it professional. He just looked at him. He'll look at you crazy. You know what I mean? He'll give you them crazy ass serial killer eyes he has. You know what I mean? Them slash post Eastern, Eurasian, Siberian looking ass eyes. Son of or nephew of Drago looking shit. But he ain't going to act on it. He's just going to do something in the ring to show you that he's the real thing. Bars. Say Dunn, he didn't destroy Joshua mentally. UK fans did. The British fans are hateful. No, I fight about a polar bear with a 500 Magnum. Well, that's true. You better have something like that because if not, if you got a 22 or 25 or 9 millimeter, probably even a 40 cal or a 45 or a Desert Eagle, or you probably will still die, and you will die a horrible, horrible death because it's nothing going to stop you because you run to a cabin, he's going to get in there. You better have one of those chef make bubbles that you're going to, you can get inside and watch him. Like this one cat, he was out in the Arctic and he was in this bubble. This fucking thing's trying to get in there and get him. It's trying to get him. And it didn't stop. It tried till it got tired, but he was relentless. So yeah, polar bears are very, very bad, man. Who wins, Vilene or Joshua? Brandon. Man, you know what? I want to see that, but I think Vilene will get the ass whooping of his life. I'm just gonna call it like I see it. Cause see, you fucking with Joshua. Now you got a guy that's a southpaw, that's a little taller. And we was talking about formation. Now he's a little up here instead of down here, so he's able to get these shots off. And I see Vilene getting an ass beating. I see him getting knocked out because there's levels to this. Understand that. I mean, that should be his next opponent, Otto Vilene. Otto Vilene's calling for the fight anyhow. You guys seen the video? I already posted a video about Otto Vilene wanting Anthony Joshua badly. St. Don. AJ is a narcissist. It's hard to call AJ a narcissist. I will call him this. I call him he's a perfectionist. He's a guy that wants to do everything right. That's the problem with his style, his punch placement. He tries too hard to do things a perfect way. Dealing with somebody like Usyk, you're going to lose 10 times out of 10. Because, see, if you notice, Usyk didn't try to, okay, I'm going to counter. And, oh, no, I'm not going to throw a punch now. I'm going to wait. No, he threw the fucking punch because he knew it's either going to land or it won't. Or it's going to partially land, or it's going to graze, or if it makes some type of impact, that's better than hitting air, right? So that's what Usyk. A lot of times, Usyk, you've seen Usyk kind of throw like arm punches, but he was throwing them. So just in case he knows, okay, he's okay. Okay. Bow! That's how he was catching him. You ever caught, man? He caught him with the left uppercut. He caught Joshua with a left uppercut, and the shit was so pretty. I was like, damn. Because he caught him inside. I think that he threw the right and he caught that son of a gun. And he caught him in Joshua. Like, oh, you know what I mean? And it was like, wow, he made Joshua's face turn up like a fucking roller coaster. Like a roller coaster ride. Are you allowed to hit your butt? Okay, yeah, gotcha. I already did that. Saudi's got AJ's back for show. Makes sense. Baba, yeah, and then, he's not, now he's becoming very, he's embracing Islam, I believe. Now, if he goes back to London and he's not, that would be disappointing. That would be disappointing. They both didn't deserve to win. Was like Olympic boxing match when you're not allowed to hunt the opponent. Being able to control head and emotion is a skill needed. Tonbi, a winner. I don't know what that means. All of a sudden, he's Nigerian, not British after his behavior. That's messed up. Kurt says Adari. Anthony Joshua, British versus Frank Sanchez, who wins. Now, that'll be a very interesting fight because now he's dealing with somebody that's not a southpaw, but is quick. He's fast. It would be. It could be a banana peel. Patrick Wilm, best boxing commentary around. Kurt, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. But no, I'm back to Usyk though, because this is about Usyk. Usyk, I believe, told his peeps to back off AJ. Let him do what AJ's going to do. Obviously, see, I think Usyk also understands if AJ started fighting, punching, and okay, if he started anything like that, Usyk would have already knew, okay, that's what security's for. That's what they get paid for. That's why the cops the sheriffs. I don't know if there were really sheriffs there like it was over here. Over here, you got city marshals, you have state troopers, you have already the in-house security, but then you do have the guys with the guns too if shit gets really real. So, I don't know if that was like that in the Middle East, and it should be if it's not. Okay? You should have roughed up Usyk a lot more. He ain't had the gas, bro. Bobby B, that shit he did in round 9 was the end of his gas tank. That motherfucker was below a quarter tank. Matter of fact, his light was on when he threw them punches. Joshua's light was on. That light was red or orange or whatever your light is in your car when your car's about to run out of gas. His shit was like that on the 9th round. That's why I didn't have nothing left. So he was surprised that Usyk survived his 10 rounds. And then another thing about Usyk, you have to think and consider the toughness that this guy has. He's so like Manny Pacquiao. Because if you think for a second that Manny Pacquiao fought the biggest guy in his life, you know who that was? Antonio Margarito. Antonio Margarito was probably 165 pounds that night. You know everybody balloons up. Mostly a higher percentage of fighters, if not all, balloon up. Unless you are fighting in a weight class that you're not supposed to be in, like Manny was, because Manny had to eat a certain amount of food to even be that big. But if you think for a second that big ass Antonio Margarito didn't hit Pacquiao, you're out of your mind. Yes, he hit Pacquiao with some hard shots. Pacquiao just withstood it and fired back with what he had. And that's exactly what Usyk showed in that fight Saturday night. So he showed more than just, hey, I can box. There's a lot of good boxers, but if you hit them, they're out for the count. So that is a major factor with Usyk. I learned that about Derek Chisora. That's why I was so bummed, because I didn't see the fight live. I was pissed because I was back in DR, and they didn't have it over there, and I didn't know what VPM was, a VPM or whatever. I didn't know what that was at the time, and I couldn't watch it. But I was interested to see how that fight turned out. Why? Because I knew that Oleksandr Usyk was coming into a realm, unlike Chaz Witherspoon. And Chaz did a pretty good job with Usyk as well. But I knew that he was going to get attacked and challenged by Derek Chisora. Because Derek Chisora is going to see what you got. And he's going to see what you got early because he ain't got time to play around with you. He's coming in to attack you. That's why people love Derek Chisora. That's why for the first 3 or 4 rounds, you're going to see Derek Chisora raise hell. And he did that with Usyk, and he slapped Usyk all around. Usyk took that shit, and he defended what he could, but he got caught. Don't think he didn't get caught in that fight with Chisora. Why do you think people think Chisora did a better job with Usyk than Joshua did in his first go-around? Because Chisora knew exactly what he wanted to do, and that's what he did. He attacked Usyk, he attacked Usyk, he attacked Usyk, and then what? What happened? It made Usyk look what? Vulnerable and beatable. Didn't it, or didn't it not? Okay, so we have to pay that close attention because people were thinking, man, Usyk probably shouldn't even be in the heavyweight division, and he sure shouldn't fuck with AJ. You guys remember that, right? But all that told me about Oleksandr Usyk is he can take shots without balling up or getting knocked out like a bitch or like somebody that doesn't deserve to be in the heavyweight division. Counterpunch. That's all that showed me. And I was like, you know what? Chisora is a hard-hitting guy. I seen what he did to Spilka. I seen what he did to Takam. You know what I'm saying? I see what he's doing, what he does to people. Man, you let Derek Chisora hit you and see what happens. Derek Chisora is a pro. He's a vet. Okay? So he knows how to hit you. And he hit Usyk a lot. Usyk fought in spots. Okay? Bars. But he fought in spots, seriously. So I knew he could take a certain amount of punishment that showed he had a certain level of durability. Okay? So no, it doesn't surprise me, but I am impressed because, again, he is a smaller dude coming up here in this weight class. Kurt, there are channels out there that says Crawford now is running from Spence. There are some channels that are absolutely disrespecting Crawford. Smooth Will, you're going to see those channels disrespect Crawford because Crawford is not a PBC guy. He is not an Al Heyman guy. He is not that guy originally. And even if he did sign with Al Heyman to get this fight done, he was originally not one of those guys. He is the guy that's on the outside. He will always be considered the outside guy. Crawford is in a bad situation for a lot of reasons. Bad timing. I wish Crawford was fighting when Trinidad and De La Hoya was. He would have made more money. He would have had better fights. He would have had better challenges. You know what I mean? And I would love to see how he would have panned up against someone like De La Hoya, to be honest with you. But, you know, now there's not a lot of money on the table. Spence is exactly not what we thought he was as far as star power and pay-per-view revenue and marquee value and all that stuff, because they can't seem to give this man a certain amount of money. If you made $2.5 million fighting Sean Porter, and Sean Porter made $2.5 million, what does that tell you? You're not even $5 million fighters. You're not. See, Spence, if they make Spence to be this guy that's out sells Canelo and all this dumb shit, if that was the case, people, he would be doing that. He ain't doing that. Okay, and this ain't really supposed to be about Spence and Crawford, but Crawford, he should have had better promotional backing, and he didn't. His promotional company fucking turned their back on him. But that's what Bob Arum ultimately does when he does, and he has enough. He does enough with you, or he uses you up. That's all he does. You're no good to him. See, it was good when Terrence Crawford was knocking guys out, but when he actually had to fork over money to sacrifice for his fighter, you seen another Bob Arum, didn't you? You seen the problems with Mikey Garcia. You seen the problems with Manny Pacquiao wanting $20 million to fight Terrence Crawford. These are facts, people, and he didn't give it to him. Floyd wanted $20 million to fight Oscar De La Hoya. He wouldn't give it to him. So what did both of those guys ultimately do? They left. Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto. All these guys left Bob Arum. Bob Arum is older. Bob Arum does not promote like he should. He is not a Don King. You can say what you want about Don King. The motherfucker, only in America, baby. The motherfucker will probably cut your throat, slit you, blow up your car, whatever. But one thing he will do is promote you. He is a promoter. He's a natural born promoter. So despite his shortcomings, or allegedly his shortcomings, he is that type of guy. Okay, so as far as Spence, if that fight ain't gonna happen, Spence is in. It's on Spence end. They're not allowing it to happen because there's certain things that they're not comfortable with moving forward and challenging a guy like Terrence Crawford. But anyway, let's get back to Usyk. Fury will rough up Usyk from go. He will, Bobby B. I believe he will. Now, I think he may fall for the I can be a better boxer than you shit, because I've been boxing since I was 5. And then he's going to do that and find out this ain't helping and this won't work. And then we will know who's the better boxer. But see, understand, with Tyson Fury and Usyk, they both can fight, not just box. Okay? They both can fight. That's the big issue, and that's the big thing. I want to see who's the better fighter out of the two. And see, Fury, he's throwing shots on the inside. He'll be taller, so you can see him throwing uppercuts in there. It will be a very competitive fight. I don't think that'll be a pushover on any end. If you won't hear me say that, because that's not true. I don't believe that. That's basically what I'm saying. Don't believe, one guy's going to beat the shit out of a guy. Now, if it happens, that will be a surprising thing, because it's not evenly matched like I thought it was going to be. Where is Zorro's 2-time and Mr. Landlord? Yeah, that is a good question. Look at Scance Rants talking shite. What's up, Kurt? Psycho Crusher, counterpunch to you. Someone gonna get brunt of AJ's anger. That's what I'm saying, Bobby V. This is what's gonna happen. I think what's gonna happen with AJ, especially if he takes on a fighter like Otto Vailene, which will be a perfect opponent. He has one loss. He has one no contest. He's fought a hell of a fight with Tyson Fury. He's going to go in there and get mauled by Anthony Joshua. Why? Because Anthony Joshua's upset. He's mad. He ain't glad. He's ready to get into somebody's ass right now. He ain't talking that. If he get, and then look, he's going to be in there with another southpaw, and he's fought a southpaw back-to-back and lost. And Otto Vailene is going to show him holes that he was looking for with Usyk, and then he's able to land. Oh man, bars. See, look, that I think AJ, and then what's going to happen? The first thing, look, and that's going to be a good comeback for Anthony Joshua, because he's gonna hit him, he's gonna hurt him, and he's eventually gonna stop him. And one thing I noticed about Joshua, he's not a one-punch knockout artist. So people, all you guys that said all he needs to do is hit Usyk and Usyk's out, stop that shit. He's not going to do that. He's not that type of fighter. You seen the Dominic Brazil fight? Okay. How many times he beat up Dominic Brazil? He softened Dominic Brazil up with his combinations. That's what he did. That's exactly what he did. So, boom, there you go. He didn't knock him out. He's not a Wilder. He ain't just boom, bomb squad, and then you fall down and then the fight's over. He's not like that. He's a guy that has to put punches together because his thing is punch placement and combinations. So he's a good, balanced, quick combination fighter, okay, with hooks and uppercuts. And I love hooks and uppercuts. So it's a beauty to watch the man work. But I think he will give Otto Vailene that damn work if Otto Vailene takes that fight next. I think he's picking a guy that he thinks that's ready for easy pick'ems like Joshua, just because he melted down after a loss. AJ is going to destroy Otto Vailene, I believe. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be bad because Otto Vailene, because he's looking for a fight. Not saying he won't try to fight AJ, but as soon as AJ starts to land and find out he can land, like shit, I'm going to destroy this boy. Give me about 5 rounds. Otto Vailene will be out of there. But I think that's the fight that should happen because AJ needs a fight with a top quality opponent that has a name, and Otto Vailene deserves another top quality fight because I think he was screwed over in the Dillian White thing. I feel bad for him, so I think he needs this fight, and I think they both need this fight. And then whatever happens, happens. This is boxing. It has to be a winner. It has to be a loser unless there's a draw. And even when you draw, you actually win or lose. You know what I'm saying? So Usyk is a great fighter, but he did get hurt by AJ, and other fighters have seen that now. Okay, well, they should see that, so that means they should want to fight this mother sucker. Okay, that's what it means. That means it shouldn't be a situation where, hey, let's stay away from the little southpaw man that can dance around you and outbox you. You know? The boxers are tough people. Don't think of them like us. They will flip out sometime. Yeah. Man, but you think of AJ, man, flipping out and stuff like that. But it only shows you though why AJ looks up to someone like Usyk. Because see, Usyk could have took that to a next level. He could have let his boys, got his boys in it, instigated. Like, you see this motherfucker took our belt? How dare him? Look at the balls on this kid. Let's get him. You know what I mean? Nobody does that to the Ukraine. You know what's going on in the Ukraine right now? And you take our belts, and I fought for my country, and you take my flag, you wrap it around your body, and you take my belts and you throw them out of the ring? What's wrong with you? Let's get him. For Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Wayne Towers. I've been watching a few Usyk fights. He was seriously good in those against Hook, Gassiev, Bradis, Bellew, etc. But he's even better boxer now. Astonishing movement. I think it depends on who you're with. Because if you look at the Bellew fight, Bellew had a certain style, slick style, that did give him problems. So you have to also understand something, Wayne. Styles make fights. Yes, he looks good against Joshua. Is Joshua on the pedigree of Usyk? Obviously not. No. Okay. It wasn't an upset. No. Okay. We just expected Anthony Joshua to do something that he wasn't able to do. Okay. That's all that is. But with that Tony Bellew fight, yeah, he showed he had to adjust with Tony Bellew. But see, what he did with Tony, he made Tony run out of gas. He made Bellew run out of gas. And then by the time Bellew was trying to get his second win, that's when Usyk was coming on. He was coming on strong because what he started to do, he started to angle his left, in a different formation. And that's how he was catching Tony Bellew. And it didn't take long because the pinpoint accuracy of him landing those shots, because he hit him that first time and buzzed him. Then he caught him again and finished him. No, he bounced Bellew's head off the bottom rope there. You know what I mean? He sure did. Oh yes, he did. Chisora never gave Usyk time to think. No, you don't supposed to. Get him. If you got a gas tank, look, imagine Chisora with a gas tank that can go 12 rounds. You got one hell of a fight. And so does Usyk. Because Usyk's saying this motherfucker ain't even, man, he's not even slowing down. And he keeps mauling me. And he will not quit. He's too legit to quit. And he ain't, man. You know, and he's going to have to fight him. Then you imagine working the body assaults like that. Pounding to the body of Usyk. Making his sides all red. You know what I mean? You see, when Joshua was going down to Usyk's body, he was kind of cringing. Because he knew, like, he's bracing himself for a shot to the body. Because I think the body is that man's kryptonite. Why do you think he got pissed? Why do you think he got pissed at one of his crew for saying he won? Antonio Matthews, I think this is what I think. I think Joshua thought he was going to win a decision. You know, even though those scorecards weren't even like lopsided enough for him to feel disrespected. See, one thing is, if you have something 117, 111, you know what I mean? This was 8 rounds to 4, 116 to 112, 113 to 115 in one of his favor, in his fucking favor, and then 115, 113 in Usyk's favor. Now, that wasn't he didn't lose he lost unanimously. Okay. No, he didn't even lose unanimously. What he did was he lost split decision. So, dude, you lost, but you had a better performance. Then you did, but you didn't. But your attitude caused you to. If Joshua would have conducted that shit like a G, people would have loved him. He should have just fucked the belt throwing, fuck the antics, fuck saying fuck that to everybody that's trying to console you and give you credit for the performance that you put on. If he wouldn't have acted like an ass and he would have grabbed that mic and said, "Let's congratulate Oleksandr Usyk, the new unified heavyweight champion. I tried my best. Thank you. Big up Saudi. Big up England. I'll be back, baby. I'll be back." If he said something like that, that's a politician answer. He might not have even felt that shit, but he said it. That's the importance, because it's how he decided to conduct himself versus how Usyk decided, you know what? I'm not tripping on none of this. And even when AJ calmed down, he was like, okay. But if you notice, though, Usyk was watching AJ. He was watching him like, shit, what is he going to do? Because he still was unsure, like, okay, what's this guy going to do? You know what I mean? But Usyk came and got his damn flag off of him. I was talking. Oh. Sorry. Wicked Intent Simi. Do the Rocky impression and the Frank Warren one, please. Come on, Kurt. Wicked Intent Simi. I'll give you this. Appreciate the $4 super chat. All right, I'm going to be Rocky, but Anthony. Try my best. Ukraine. You guys have gone through war. You guys are going through shit. I'm sorry I didn't bring it back to Philly. I'm sorry, but where's Adrian? Frank Warren, I told you that he's going to get beaten. He's just outclassed. He surely couldn't deal with Tyson Fury now. So he has to redeem himself if he actually ever wants to get in the ring. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? Why you got that kind of voice? What you been drinking, smoking, snorting, something? What's wrong with Frank Warren? You know what I mean? What's wrong with this guy? I love the second White versus Chisora fight. Chisora was putting it on him until he got caught. Yeah, man, that was a good fight. That was a good fight, and I think they were trying to separate the level of opposition between Chisora and White. Chisora and White are similar when it comes to fighting, but I think Chisora takes fights easier. I think he's more open to fight certain people. I think Dillian White ducked Ortiz to a certain degree. Um, but then Ortiz had his own bullshit company too, so you don't really know how true that is. You know what I mean? I always wanted to see that fight, and I'm bitter because I wanted to see Dillian White fight Ortiz. You know what I mean? I wanted that, just like I wanted to see Anthony Joshua take on Deontay Wilder. So I would like to see that though. Bro, you missed your super chat. No, I didn't. I got you, man. I got you. Adrian, we got a new microwave. Adrian, we got a new microwave oven, Adrian. That's good, Rock. I'm not trying to be funny since this is Curtis Court, but some people are saying that the judge was bought. He could have been. He could have been, but then again, people see it the way they saw it. Like, look at Ring IQ. Ring IQ, Jules from Ring IQ had it close. So, I don't think he's biased at all. Baby Miller. Wilder versus Joshua and Usyk versus Fury. And after winners both fight to get the clash. Because it might be the same person. It might be Joshua and Usyk again. Because if Usyk beats Fury and then Joshua beats them, those guys will be fighting again. Which I wouldn't see a problem with that. But you have to keep in mind of other challengeable opponents or possibilities. You got Frank Sanchez undefeated. Joe Joyce undefeated. You got Daniel Dubois still there. You got Jared Anderson is up and coming. So, you know what I mean? It has to be a certain situation about those guys. And you have to be fair about it because all we're seeing is the same people fighting each other. That'll get old. I don't want to see another Anthony Joshua Usyk fight, just like I didn't want to see a Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. 3. But now looking at it in hindsight, that fight, the trilogy between Fury and Wilder was necessary. It was necessary. It had to happen for a lot of reasons. It shut a lot of people up. It shut down a lot of narratives. People got quiet as a church house mouse when Fury beat the shit out of Wilder again. Wilder did show his thing. Good for him. All well and good. You know what I mean? I'm glad that it was that way. Because I didn't want to see another one-sided ass beating. That would have been pointless. Because then it would be like, okay, Joshua just got his ass upset by Usyk because Usyk was the guy that's supposed to, be beaten by Joshua to set up this Fury-Joshua mega fight. Then Fury goes in there and beats the shit out of Wilder again. So looking at that, you'll be like, okay, well, why did Fury fight Wilder anyway without no resistance, without no challenge? So that meant, damn, he should have just fought Anthony Joshua because Joshua lost and we would have at least seen a super fight for Undisputed, but we don't get to see that now, do we? Or did we? No. But at least Wilder showed why he belonged in the ring with Tyson Fury. I'm saying all that to say that. Okay, so at least there was some resistance. He got a couple knockdowns. He did what he's supposed to do. And I'm proud of him. How about Chris Rock? I don't know. What's up with Chris Rock? Kurt, can AJ recover to become great? Yeah, he can. They have to work on his skills, and he needs to get with somebody that's going to actually help him. I do feel that Robert Garcia wasn't what I thought he was going to be. I think if Ronnie Shields was with him, Ronnie Shields would be telling him, because Ronnie's accustomed to training fighters, and he's a realist. He'll tell AJ that, you can't leave it to the judges. You can't leave it, baby. You can't. AJ, listen to me. You cannot leave this to the judges. Go out there and take your titles back. He's just not going to give you the titles, AJ. You need to go out there and throw punches, man. Come on. Let's get it together. Let's go. That's Ronnie Shields. I didn't see Robert saying that or doing that. I seen, actually, he wasn't even in the ring. Angel Fernandez was. So it was kind of a strange camaraderie between them two, right? Victor Simpson, what's up, Kurt? Always remember, put your money on Fury or Floyd Mayweather and you'll be right. Hey, Victor, you might be right. Because that's funny. And it's just like Tyson, though, to just give you a big surprise. I told you I'll beat the Dulce. I took it back from the Ukraine. I am the Ukrainian Slayer. I can take them all out. And I'm retiring. I'll see you later. Bars. Is Wilder versus Helenius signed and sealed? Absolutely. It's signed, sealed, delivered. It is done. It is done, son. October 15th. That's what it's about. October 15th. Helenius, Wilder. I will be there live. Kurt has fallen out of like with Joshua. No, I haven't. I just have to understand Joshua has to rebuild. I'm not kicking the man when he's down. I'm praising the man that beat him. See, that's a difference. I'm not shitting on Joshua. But then again, here's the thing. When you got someone like Joshua that went through all that pressure and then took a whole bunch of shit and bottled it all up and didn't say nothing when he should have. I know a lot of people like that. When they should address an issue, they don't. So when it does come out, it comes out fucked up. You know what I mean? And then people do that. AJ is one of them people. James West, appreciate this $20. Blessed by the best. Bars. But no, that's what happened to AJ. Will Helenius be competitive? I'm pretty sure he will. I don't think Helenius, coming off a 2-win streak, beating an undefeated fighter, is coming in there to lay down against Deontay Wilder. He's coming in there to be Wilder's nightmare, being the Nordic nightmare. You know what I'm saying? Helenius is there to be hit by Wilder. Yes. I see. And the thing about Wilder, though, Wilder is smaller, which is good. You know. I watched it carefully a while back. I had it 7-5 to Joshua, maybe even 8-4. I thought Usyk didn't really land much, and most of the what he landed were non-scoring feather-like shots. Feather-like shots are still scoring, though. And one thing that brought me to the realization of points versus effective punching is a fight of Pernell Whitaker versus Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, because Oscar De La Hoya and Pernell Whitaker outlanded him. He got a knockdown, and they still fucking robbed him. So, I mean, it could happen. Don't get me wrong, it could happen. So, based on what you're saying, a lot of people can think exactly like that judge thought. You know what I mean? It's sad, but it's true. So, and a lot of people can think like you thought. You know, like, hey, those bigger punches belong to Joshua. You know, now what would have helped Joshua, though, if Joshua would have got a knockdown? If he would have got and created a knockdown, that would have changed everything, because it showed that, hey, I can hurt this guy, I can drop this guy, I just can't finish this guy. Therefore, this guy's a better boxer than me. Therefore, he beat me because he outlasted me. I ran out of gas. I tried, you know, but what he did, yeah, it was fucked up. It was fucked up what he did. See, I can't sit here and not drill Joshua and did that shit to Wilder. The only dip, now I can tell you the difference, though. Wilder had a lot of people that was annoying. And then, see, he was the mastermind pulling the string, so it would be different. See, Joshua let out a fucking apology. I'm sorry. You know, he came back to ring. I'm sorry about that. I fucked up. That wasn't right. I was mad at myself. I shouldn't have took it out on you guys. He apologized. Wilder didn't do that shit. He didn't. In fact, we didn't even know he was stirring this shit up until he came out. Ta-da! I do think he was filing me and cheated me into egg weight form and cheating referee and drunk trainer and spiked water and all this bullshit. He did that for a long time. And that gave you ammunition to fire at Wilder, because Wilder continuously did the same thing. Okay? Because he kept saying the same stuff, and he had a group of people going around with the same bullshit story. So that was the difference. Joshua just acted out of his ass one night and apologized for it. Then went to apologize for what he did. Now, the antic from Joshua Did Wilder act that way? No. This is where it gets tricky. If you ask me, what was worse? Okay, on the front end, it was Joshua. What Joshua did was fucked up because Wilder didn't throw no damn belts out the ring. He ain't do that. Nah. But instead, if you really think about it, depends on who you ask. Why? Because it's like this. Would you want a person to insult you aggressively? Or would you want somebody to insult you passively? And what Joshua did, he became aggressive. So it was like a fuse just got blown. Fuck this, Mike Tyson style. But he wasn't even that bad. So it wasn't to that degree, right? We've seen a lot of bad shit happen in the ring after fights, and especially after decisions were called, okay? So don't put Joshua to that degree. Now, he couldn't, it would qualify. It would qualify like if someone made, boxers lose control. Yeah, he would be on that volume. But would he be like the top one? No, he wouldn't. Other people have filled that slot a long time ago, people. So he was an aggressive on that end, but he apologized to it. Now it's all about patching it up and people eventually forgetting it. Okay? Now, passively, would you want him to do that shit he did, or what Wilder did? The better man won tonight, then go into hiding, and then you just hear a bunch of people that said he said a lot of stuff, right? Secondhand information, saying that Tyson Fury cheated him, saying that the referee, he's at fault too. He was a crab in the barrel referee. His trainer had spiked water, and who else? What else? The fucking costume shit. And then they asked him, I don't care. I'm gonna do one on Blue Blood later on because he's sparking this shit up because what he's trying to do, he's trying to make this about Wilder. This ain't about Wilder. So don't even talk about Wilder. See, it would be different if Wilder would have said something about Anthony Joshua's antics, which he did not. He commented on Joshua losing, but he did not bring up, well, you guys talked about this, that, and the other. No, he didn't. But see, the content creators are, and it's time for them to get counterpunched. Why? Because they need to understand that, look, this isn't about Wilder, so don't make it about Wilder. Wilder's trying to make this or something else about himself, and something else was Joshua getting beat by Usyk. He has nothing to do with that equation whatsoever. All it showed to me is Joshua and Deontay Wilder ain't that damn different. One's aggressive in the way he does things, and when he loses his cool, and the other one's passive. See, Joshua acted out, snatched the belts from Usyk and his people, talked a gang of shit, left the ring, came back to the rings, did a speech, went to the post conference, broke down. That's what Joshua did, right? Got into it with a guy in the forum. Yeah, he did. But what did Wilder do? The better man won tonight, put his head low, and then start talking shit behind the scenes. Which one would you prefer? And he did it for fucking 2 years. Which one would you want to prefer? That's what it is. So, in other words, if Anthony Joshua keeps, like, let's say he decides to fuck Usyk and this, that, and the other, at least he congratulated the man. Deontay Wilder congratulated him, but I think either someone came to him, got in his ear, told him, showed him these things or these videos that could easily been edited to prove that they're narrative or whatever. And he was like, you know what? I knew it was something wrong. I knew I didn't feel right. But dude, you got too many fucking variables of what could have went wrong. You could have had spike water. You could have had a trainer that was jealous. You could have had a referee that didn't like you. You could have had a heavy costume. You could have been like it was too many damn things that you were talking about. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the gloves, the gloves could have been tampered. Like, dude, that's too many. That's every variable and every excuse that you could have used. You used it. You used it or you believed it. Either way, you went along with it and you allowed it to happen. You could have shut it down if you had integrity. You did not. That's why it was meant for Tyson Fury to morally beat the shit out of Wilder. People, you got to understand that. Because if Wilder would have knocked Tyson Fury out, they would have still claimed that Tyson Fury cheated. And he used the same gloves, same color, same weight, same every fucking thing. Same trainer, everything happened. He used the same thing. And he whooped you the same way. It was just later. It wasn't in round 7, it was round 11. And he damn near sent you to heaven. Bars. That's what happened with with Wilder. So if you want to talk about secondhand stuff, having people to spread rumors and lies or propaganda, you know, which one is worse? I don't know. I don't know which one is worse. You guys got to decide that. But I can tell you one thing. They're both fucked up. Joshua lost his cool. He apologized. Wilder got beat up, said and claimed to be okay with the victory or the defeat that he took, but he actually didn't. Behind closed doors, he was just talking a bunch of shit. And then when he came to the press conference, the third fight, he didn't even want to address the shit. Tyson Fury had to come out with it, which I'm glad he did. Because if Tyson Fury wouldn't have came out with it, it's like, well, damn, why didn't Tyson Fury come out with, you know, the fact that this guy said that he cheated? So, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of chicken shit. Passive chicken shit versus aggressive bullshit. Anthony Joshua, aggressive bullshit. Deontay Wilder, passive chicken shit. Those are the two things you dealt with. Two different ways they did things. Both, though, were unprofessional, uncalled for, unprecedented, and unwanted. That's what they were, both of them. So before people wag your finger, oh man, you just know. They were both fucked up. And just Joshua raised the bar. Like, yo, Joshua, you're capable of this bullshit too. That's what it is. Do I hate Joshua? No. Do I hate Wilder? No. I'm glad they're back in the sport of boxing. I'm glad they're back, basically. And I'm glad they're fighting again. I'm glad they hadn't decided to give up because they got too much money, because there's too many fighters that do that. And I'm sick of people with the fucking Andy Ruiz mentality to think just because I got a couple paydays, I don't have to fight hard no more. I don't have to want it no more. And you've been doing this shit since you were 6 years old. Yes, so I'm disappointed in guys like Andy Ruiz. So he has to prove himself. But, I mean, I don't even want to talk about Andy Ruiz. Let's talk about Usyk. Usyk showed that he was professional. He showed he had patience. He showed that he was God-fearing. He showed that he had temperament. He could have done so many different things, and he chose. You know what? And even after Anthony Joshua apologized and all that, you know, and that's even before Anthony Joshua broke down in his own side of the post-press conference. Usyk was like, I don't take that. I knew he was upset. So that means he had discerning spirit to know, like, yo, this man is just upset. And you have to have a certain type of character to have that type of mindset at that point of time. You know, on top of everything else going around. So that takes true mental strength, but your spirit, bro, your spirit has to be right. You know what I mean? So that's why I like Usyk. That's why I've always liked Usyk. Because Usyk was humble. Usyk didn't talk shit. He didn't like people that talk shit. He didn't like brash, boastful people. He didn't like that. He didn't. Matter of fact, 3 years ago, I was at 4. He said, I don't like Wilder. He talks too much. Because what Wilder was doing was quite brilliant, because he was talking up the idea of AJ being scared. Therefore, he was raising his marquee value, you know, and getting more money for himself, which he did. And shouts out to him. But Usyk didn't like people like that. And I professionally, if you're not Muhammad Ali or Roy Jones Jr., I really don't care for the act of you trying to boast yourself. That's why I don't care for Ryan Garcia. You're not fighting nobody. You know what I mean? I don't really care for a lot of people. Some people I jail with, I rock with, but then some people rub me the wrong way. You know what I mean? Especially if you're not beating or fighting the best fighters. I like Ricardo Mayorga. He was a straight asshole, but he was promoted. He was marketable, and he was out of. Look, he was off the chain. Yeah, there probably will never be another Mayorga, Ricardo Mayorga. And he wasn't even the best fighter, but he put Vernon Forrest down twice, and Vernon Forrest beat Sugar Shane twice. Sugar Shane beat Oscar De La Hoya twice. Oscar De La Hoya could beat Ricardo Mayorga. So what does that tell you? That tells you these guys need to fight each other. I don't care what happens. And I'm sick of people saying, well, obviously he surely couldn't beat Fury. Fury has nothing to do with Anthony Joshua and Oleksandr Usyk's fight. So stop. Stop. We keep doing that. We need to get out of that triangle bullshit. It does not work. It holds no weight in the boxing game. This is the sport that I love, that I hate so much for that reason. One of the main reasons, because you don't get one fighter that can beat this fighter because that other fighter beat him. He possibly couldn't fight him. And that's the case. We shouldn't even see certain fights. So, okay, let's put it this way. If Joshua would have stopped Usyk Saturday night, you know what we would have been saying? And a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people would have been saying about Usyk, he was too small, and Anthony Joshua got him. He don't belong at the heavyweight division. No, he doesn't. He belongs somewhere else. He belongs maybe at cruiserweight or bridgerweight because he can't handle these big guys. And if he would have fought someone else, if he would have fought Fury, he would have surely been stopped. That's what people would have been saying. Without fighting Fury at all. Without Fury fighting Usyk, without Usyk fighting Fury. That would have been the narrative. Right there. Right there. That would have been the narrative all the way through. Damn, Usyk's good, man, but he too small. He too small. And AJ, man, stopped him. Then AJ will be right back at the top. Then we got to see who's number 1 and number 2. But here's the thing. Here's the elephant in the room. Okay? Analogy. Elephant in the room is Usyk never fought Fury. But the way we think in our standards, Usyk shouldn't have to fight Fury because Joshua fought and beat Usyk, and then Usyk should never beat Tyson Fury because Tyson Fury already beat, Anthony Joshua already beat Oleksandr Usyk. So therefore, Usyk has no business fighting Tyson Fury. That's the type of shit that we deal with. That's the triangle theory that we need to break. We need to break that wheel of thinking because it doesn't exist. I just explained to you in the welterweight division how that doesn't exist. Ricardo Mayorga beat Vernon Forrest. But before that, Vernon Forrest dethroned Sugar Shane Mosley. Sugar Shane Mosley gave Oscar De La Hoya his real O. He took that real L from him, right? So he snatched that O from him and gave it to him. Then he goes and gets beat by Vernon Forrest twice. Then Ricardo Mayorga comes in and takes him out twice. These are facts. So then, guess what? If that's the case, if Ricardo Mayorga beat Vernon Forrest and Vernon Forrest beat Sugar Shane Mosley can't fight Mayorga. That's what we're saying. But what happened? Sugar Shane Mosley destroyed Mayorga. So did Oscar De La Hoya. So Oscar De La Hoya couldn't beat Vernon Forrest because Vernon Forrest beat Sugar Shane. Sugar Shane beat Oscar. So Oscar can nail it and can surely not fight Vernon Forrest. That's what we're dealing with. We're thinking with mind of people like that, and I call that casual because you're not thinking based on history, based on how things work, based on style of fighters. So Oleksandr Usyk showed, I can beat Joshua, but can he beat Fury? That's the question. But can he beat Fury has a lot to do with a whole new set of reasonings on why he can or cannot beat Fury. And vice versa. It has nothing to do with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua will not be fighting that night. Okay? That's how that goes. AJ was probably concussed when he did that. No, he wasn't concussed. AJ is only a human. We make mistakes. Yeah? But so is Wilder. Remember that. Wilder is only human too. You got to keep this shit a buck. And Wilder was delusional. Wilder did not think, and he did not believe, and I think he honestly did not believe Tyson Fury fought him fair and square. You know what I mean? Now, if I had an inkling that Deontay Wilder was full of shit, I would have said so. But I can tell you this. I think the people that egged that thing on or egged that narrative on, I think they were full of shit. I think they knew, and I think in the back of their mind, it feared them, to fight Wilder again. I mean, Wilder fight Fury again, because then they could prove what was what. You guys remember that. You had Fanon, you had Blue Blood, I know Fanon and Boxing Ego and Dante's Boxing Nation. He's not even LB. All those little fucking channels kind of spread apart now. But I'll tell you this. When you they wanted Tyson Fury to have the WBC belt snatched from him. They didn't even want Wilder to fight for it. They were signing a petition because he cheated and we have all these mountains of evidence. We want this to be returned, give that man his O back, and give him back the title because Tyson Fury has cheated and he has allegations against him. So clearly, he doesn't even deserve to even have the WBC, and he shouldn't have to fight Wilder because why would Wilder want to fight a cheater? That type of stuff. So they didn't even want Wilder fighting Fury again because they were afraid of the inevitable, and the inevitable happened. Tyson Fury went in there, fought Wilder, and beat Wilder. And he beat him worse than he did in the second fight. And just like I told you guys, that shit is going to happen because Tyson Fury has his number. Because he knows Deontay Wilder is not the type of guy that's a fighter. He's a puncher. So when he does like to punch and he does like to throw these big bombs, he has nothing else to offer. And Tyson Fury knew that. So it's safe to say Tyson Fury calling out Deontay Wilder back in 2018, okay? When he's calling him out in 18, how do we know that he's not a cherry pick when he just broke down everybody on Deontay Wilder's record that wasn't worth the shit? So if he wasn't worth the shit and he fought him, what makes him the shit? Counterpunch. So, I mean, we're looking at all this stuff here, and then now we have a new variety of game, and I feel so good to see Tyson Fury ponder on the idea, that he's going to fight Oleksandr Usyk, because I think at that point we will see how good these guys are, because there will be with a new, fresh challenge. And then and I think Usyk's temperament, patience, professionalism, all that will go into test once again with Tyson Fury. Because see, Tyson Fury is the kind of dude that he does like to get in your head. He does like to talk a gang of shit. And we're going to see how strong Usyk really is. But as of right now, people, right now, Usyk is probably one of the most respectable champions that we have. You know what I mean? He just is. And I think he is where Anthony Joshua wants to be mentally one day. Okay. I think that's what it is. So at the end of the day, when you're talking about dignity, respect, Usyk showed that, and he showed that, look, that you can't move me with that. Maybe, possibly, that all the other stuff that he went through, or he's seen, rather, because I don't want to go into what he did in the Ukraine or not, because, people start talking shit. I think maybe that's one of the last things on his mind. And it just shows, like, look, I've been through all this. I've seen all that. I realize that this is very, very trivial. What AJ did, that this has no effect on me whatsoever. Okay, so no, a major, huge shout out to Usyk for not losing his cool, for keeping it professional, for giving respect to Anthony Joshua afterwards. Because I think Usyk was more relieved that he did win, simply because he was doing it for a whole nation of people. And I think what could have been heartbreaking is if we look now Usyk just wants to fight Fury. Well, now we look at it, we take that into account. Well, if he now just only wants to fight Fury, if he would have lost to Joshua, that might have been his last fight, because that could have been a situation where he more than likely was devastated because he didn't win, because he felt he let his country down. You know what I'm saying? So that could have been his last fight if he would have lost to AJ. But AJ's a few years younger. He's in his prime. He's showing where he is. He can't beat Usyk, but who else can Usyk beat? Who else can he beat? That's what we're going to run into in this situation. Let me nothing was more annoying in boxing than the almighty LDBC. And something funny about, like, I didn't know a lot of those dudes, and people that were LDBC, that weren't LDBC, I didn't know they weren't LDBC. Because I thought Dante's Boxing Nation was LDBC. I thought his whatever he was, his flunky was LDBC. I know barbershop conversations. I think he is, and I don't think he's an LDBC guy anymore. For non, I think the same. I think he split up too. Boxing ego was never that. So I mean, there's only a few. Blue Blood, 78 Sports. They got the other guy. He's always mad all the time. I know I can't remember his name, but uh, I know those are the three. I think Shield fight. No, no, I forget that name too. Bald headed cat. But I didn't watch him like that. So I don't know. I hate to say this, there is quite a bit of convert racism towards Joshua from British fans. They will never admit to Joshua winning, or it was much closer than they are saying. Kurt, we got 12 days until Ortiz versus Ruiz. Who you got? I will have to go with Ruiz. Ortiz was not then that impressive against Charles Martin. King Kong legs are gone. Carl Young, I'm with you, and I'm going for Luis Ortiz. I don't care. It's bias. Cuban fighters. I got a bias towards Cuban fighters because that's where a lot of my people are from, Cuba. So, and I love the pedigree of Cuba. I mean, the history. Savon and Stevenson and many others, Casamayor and what I mean. You have so many different Cuban fighters, and the sad thing about Cuba, they don't get the recognition that they need. So it's sad because even though they started some bullshit about pro Cuban fighters or whatever, I don't know. We haven't heard anything since. But I think it's talent in Cuba that you will never ever see. And I think they would probably be like on Floyd's level and stuff like that. But you'll never see them because they'll never get the opportunity based on the political stuff that's going on. But saying all that to say this, I'm going for Ortiz. We've already got a Mexican heavyweight champion, and his name was Andy Ruiz, bars. But I think Ortiz, if he does make that, I think he has another challenge, and people overlook. Luis Ortiz has a daughter that has an illness, and he needs money for her, and it came back, and I hope they keep him fighting, but at an expense that he's not permanently damaged. But that's all he knows. That's all Ortiz knows. Yes, he's old, but that's his only thing. He can hit hard. You see, yeah, he got slapped down by a jab, but he came back and knocked fucking Charles Martin into next April. Okay? I hope he does that to Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz has nothing else to prove. I don't see him doing anything else in the sport of boxing worthy of anything. He ducked Ortiz 2 years, so that made him that much older. So I don't really have much to say about Andy Ruiz. I think he will win, though, because this is the sport that I love, that I hate so much for that reason. Because people play the waiting game. And as soon as they knew Ortiz was easy pick'ems, a low-hanging fruit, or looked like he was ready to go, people, Andy Ruiz, I'm ready. I'm ready to take the fight. I'm ready to show Ortiz now. Let me put my Snickers down. Give me a fucking break, bro. James West, blessed by the best. Hit me with that gold $20 sticker. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate the super sticker love, the super chat love. What else do they have? It's super chat, super stickers, super whatever. Appreciate you guys. You didn't have to, but you guys did. I appreciate each and every one of you. But back to Ortiz for a minute. I hope he has two good fights. One against Ruiz and two against whoever is the top champion. I want him to fight for a heavyweight crown, and Andy Ruiz is standing in the way, and he's already been there and he's already been around. Bars. Will Hellenius? Yeah, I already got that. Let's see. I really like the fact that AJ wants to fight as soon as possible. Yeah, I mean, he has to show that he has character. He has to show that he's still a force in the heavyweight division. And I think he has to do that right away. And I think that's contingent on that the zone deal. So he has to prove that, like, yeah, I am what you say I am. I am the reason you've given me all this money. So I'm going right back to work. That's Joshua's job, to be Anthony Joshua, you know, but to be a certain kind of Anthony Joshua with a certain kind of personality. You know what I'm saying? Wilder probably retires if he loses to Helenius. Yeah, Jackie Boy Johnson, he probably will. But it's fair to say that about Joshua. If he loses to somebody else, like right now, yeah, because that would be his third loss consecutively. So I wouldn't say the same thing about Wilder. I wouldn't say about Joshua, because Wilder would have been his third loss back to back to back. So if he loses to Helenius, remember he already got beat in 2020, first L, then 2021, second L. Then if he gets beat by Helenius, third L. Those are three back to back. He's not fought in between that to earn any victory whatsoever. If Joshua, same shit for him. He got beat last year. Oh, that was his second L. Then he gets beat this year, which is his third L. And if he gets beat again by whoever, Otto Vailene, that is him. That he should be gone too. He should consider retirement, get that $100 million, become an ambassador, talk shit, sit at a panel, laugh. You know, you better not go to a Dillian White fight, because Dillian White will talk about your ass. I still want to fight Joshua. You're a lanky piece of shit. I told you it was fake the whole time. He was fake. He's faking. Wilder has just done an interview with ES News, and C said Usyk has a stamina problem. That made me laugh out loud. Wayne Towers. Man, I got to watch that. You know, in fact, I'm going to watch that right after this live stream. Big, big. Jack Burton, you are a clown for the comment. Uh-oh, you guys are getting into it in the trenches, eh? I admire of Usyk since 2012 Olympics. What's this drug ban that Fury keeps going on about? I have no idea. What drug ban? I got to do some research on it. Forgive me, guys. I just woke up. I put a gang of content out today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I'm going to do tomorrow's batch. So we will reconvene tomorrow. We'll talk about some Tyson Fury stuff. But I thank every one of you guys for coming on. The hundreds of you, perhaps thousands of you that have dropped by this chat. Thank you, guys. God bless you. You guys be safe. And everyone has been counterpunched. Peace.